Welcome to my Hebrew channel, Miel Hebraica, Hebrew Honey. And today we're going to be finishing a whole series of Jeremiah 36. When I first read that whole chapter, I realized I had to do it in a number of different videos. So this is the last one. Wow. I thought I'd do it all in 1 week. It's taken a little bit more than a week to accomplish this. But it's been a very interesting journey. Every time I go through the scriptures, always find something that I hadn't known before. So hopefully share with you some of those findings. So here we go into Jeremiah 36. Jeremiah 36:27, and the word of Jehovah came to Jeremiah after the king burned the scroll and the words which Baruch wrote from the mouth of Jeremiah, saying, Vayhi dibar Yahweh el Yirmiyahu Achre Serof Hamelech et Megila ve'et ha'devarim asher katav Baruch mipi Yirmiyahu lemor. And this is, and it so happened it was the word to be, and it happened that the word of Jehovah, the word of the Lord, came to Jeremiah, Yirmiyahu, Achare, after the king Hamelech Sarof, okay, had burned the Megila, et Megila. This et here, direct object marker, and tells us that this thing received the action of this verb. Here's the word Sarof, the verb, and here's what received that action. Megila, the scroll. Ve'et Hadebarim, and the words are also included, okay? Scroll, that is the physical roll, and the words Ve'et Devarim, Hadebarim, Asher, Katav, which wrote, Baruch wrote. This is just a simple third-person indicative verb right here. Baruch Katav, Mipi, from the mouth, Yirmiyahu of Jeremiah, Lemor, saying. So when you have this is a narrative sequence right here, and then whenever you have lemor after that, you're going to hear direct dialogue, a direct discourse as to what was actually said. And so the Lord speaks to Jeremiah 36:28. Turn back, take for you another scroll, write upon it all the former words which were upon the first scroll, which Jehoaquim, king of Judah, burned. Shuv. Kach leha Megila acheret ve'ketov elecha et kol hadevarim harishonim asher hayu al hamegila harishona asher saraf Jehoaquim melech Yehuda. Shuv is to return, go back. Apparently, Jeremiah was already putting some distance between him and the city. Not exactly sure, but it means go back, okay. And incidentally, putting yourself back into danger again. Shuv, kach, lecha. This is a lamed. The root here is lamed kof chet. Lamed kof chet. In all of the occasions that we've seen this verb here in our passage, it always appears with the reduced part, the kof chet. And in the next verse or two, I read it before. There's going to be coming a lamed kof chet. Okay, but so when you're learning it as a verb, it's a verb. The root that you'll find in the dictionary or in your electronic machine, Blue Letter Bible, will tell you, oh yeah, the root of this thing is lamed kof chet, okay, lamed kof chet. But the reality is it appears almost all the time just with the base root and the smaller root, which is kof chet. And learn it with kof chet. When you see it with the full root, oh good, we finally got a full root. But anyway, lakach, to take, to you, for you. Megila, this is the scroll, the thing with the round part in the middle of it. Galil, the round scroll. Acheret, another one afterwards, a second one, another scroll. Ketov, and write, Alecha on it, et kol hadibarim, all of the words. Okay, plural, masculine plural form here. Yod, hirik yod mem, kol hadibarim, all these words. Harishonim, all of the first words. Okay, the former words, the ones that were on there before. Harishonim. Asher hayu, that were on, which were, okay, which were right here. Hayu el ha Megila, on the scroll. So we have Megillah here. This Megillah does not have an article on it. This one does. Okay, ha Megillah, got a nice article, and that also explains this dagesh, because when you put an article, make a definitive article right here, the hey, you'll have a patah and a dagesh. So that makes it a definite. Now, what you have here is an indefinite word and a definite word. So an indefinite word right here, an indefinite scroll, is take just a scroll, just any scroll that you can find or make, and that's how you start. But here, this one's a definite scroll, because this is the scroll that everybody knew about, and this is a scroll that got burned, and this is a scroll that was sort of the center of the story all the way through chapter 36. So this is ha Megillah, the one that got burned. Okay, and so everybody knows which, and that makes it a very definite article. So it's ha Megillah, the scroll. So you'll have take for you a scroll and then the first scroll. Ha Megillah, ha Rishonah, the first one, the previous one, the first one. Ha Rishonah. Now this here you have ha Rishonim, that's the first words, and these are the first scroll. Okay, so that's a plural in this same word here, but this one's plural and this one's singular. Okay, ha Megillah, ha Rishonah, the first scroll, first words. Asher, Sharaf, that was burned, or here, yeah, this is an indicative verb right here. Jehoaquim burned, and his title here is Melech Yehuda. Jehoaquim, Melech, king of Judah, burned that first scroll. And to Jehoiakim, king of Judah, you must say, this is what Jehovah says, you burned this scroll, saying, why did you write upon it, saying, step by step the king of Babylon comes, and he will destroy this land and make it rest without cattle, manna and cattle. Ve'al Jehoakim, melech Yehuda, tovar ko amar Yahweh ata sharafta et ha-Megillah hazot lemor maduach katavta eleha lemor ba yavo melech Babel ve'hishhit et haaretz hazot ve'hishvit mena adam u'be'ema. And so, and to Jehoiakim, king of Judah, okay, al Jehoakim melech Yehuda, say, okay, tomar. Okay, this is hortatory or imperative. Tomar, ko, thus or this, and thus, this is what you have to say. Ko amar. This is what Jehovah says. Yahweh amar, indicative verb right here, and this is what Jehovah says. Ata, to you. Okay, this is a second person pronoun here. Sharafta, you burned. Okay, Sharafta, second person masculine singular here. Sharafta. Et ha Megillah, the scroll, article on here, definite article. The scroll. Azot, this one. Lemor, saying, Madua, why? Okay, Madua, why? Yeah. Katavta, why did you write? Aleha, why did you write these things on there? In other words, these what Jeremiah is doing here. He's quoting some things that Jehoiakim had said. And this is actually the reasoning that Jehoiakim gave for destroying this scroll. This scroll is just telling me about how we're all going to be destroyed by the king of Babylon, and I don't want to pay attention to that. And so in other words, we're getting some of the content of the scroll and feedback here as to what was on the scroll. And so, Madua katavta elecha lemor, saying, why did you write on it? Incidentally, here you have sarafta, you burned, and here you wrote. Okay. Now, this one here would be Jehoiakim burned, and this one here is Jeremiah or Baruch. They wrote on it. You wrote upon it, lemor, saying, bo yabo. Now this is a repeated verb here, infinitive, indicative, and so going, he goes. Going, he will go. Now, what I find interesting is that when you see this kind of thing when we saw with higid hugad, we see it again here. It's kind of verb that kind of boom does things. Each verb is kind of working with a pair. In other words, it's working together, and that's why I put in here step by step. In other words, coming. Okay, step by step, the king of Babylon comes. Okay, bo yabo. Okay, step by step, Melech Babel. Okay, he's coming step by step. He's very, very, how do you say it? It's very steady. It is coming, so watch out. Okay, bo yabo Melech Babel. Ve hishit, and he will cause to destroy. He will wipe it out. There's if you just think in English what this sounds like in English, it's one way to remember it. Hishit. Okay. So anyway, I'm not going to repeat that word. I want to keep the video clean here, but it does have a kind of an interesting connection there with English. Okay. Hishit. Haaretz, the earth, this earth, hazot, hishbit. Now I have it make it rest. Now that's an interesting thing here. You have, this is actually Shabbat, okay? To make it rest, have a Shabbat. In other words, the Lord is going to put the land under rest. In other words, it's going to bring a Shabbat onto the land. In other words, it's going to stop. Everything's going to shut down. Everything's done for, and it's going to be out of commission for a while. So hishbit, okay? And it will rest. It will cease. So many translations just say it will stop for a while. Okay, Yishbit memena, from without, Adam bema ubema. Okay, Adam ubema, from without man or beast or cattle. Jeremiah 36:30. For certain, this is what Jehovah says concerning Jehoiakim, the king of Judah. There will not be for him someone sitting on the throne of David, and his corpse will be thrown out to the heat in the day and to the cold in the night. Now, I found an interesting connection here with this. This is the 5th time that I've read the passage in Hebrew, and finally on the 3rd or 4th reading, I finally caught up with this particular verb right here. We'll get to it. It's kind of interesting to see it. Lachen, for certain, for yes. In modern Hebrew, can, yes, and then for yes, for certain. Ko, this, Amar, this is what Jehovah says. Okay, Ko Amar, Yahweh. Okay, let's do it in Hebrew first. Achen Ko Amar Yahweh al Jehoaquim Melech Yehuda lo yihye lo yoshev al kiseh David ve nivlachto tichye mush leket le horev bayom le kera balayla. And for certain, this is what Jehovah says. Jehovah affirms, says, to Jehoaquim, Melech Yehuda, king of Judah, lo yihye. This will not be to you for him. Okay, and not be for him. This is here. It's an interesting play on words here. Yehi is a prefix form of haya, to be or to become. Okay, to become, will not become, will not be. This is this word right here. Will not be. Lo, not is a negative, and this sounds the same. It has the same pronunciation, same sound, but very much a different word. Often in Katif Kare, you're going to have this kind of these words will be interchanged. Okay, lo yihye lo. Okay, there will not be to him, for him, and this is a negation, and this one's a preposition with a pronoun, and this is possessive. He will not have, he will not be to him. Okay, lo yehye, lo to him. Yoshev, seating. Al kiseh, on the throne, David. Okay, there will not be someone sitting on the throne of David. In other words, the throne's going to get canceled here. The dynasty, the genealogy continues on. We'll still keep that going along because those people are hauled off to Israel, but they're not going to have the role of king anymore. In fact, the political system over in Jerusalem is going to be taken over by the high priest and other personages. It's the people who are going to be running Jerusalem are going to be running it. You'll get into kings later on with Herod and so forth, but David's lineage, they're with what Jehoaquim and all that, they're not going to be on the throne anymore. So Al kiseh David ve Nebaloto, and his body. Nebal is something that's kind of soft and mushy. Okay, in fact, they call it a corpse. Okay, here we go. Nebaloto and his corpse. Tihi will be Mush Shelechet. Now, it's either the third or fourth reading through, I noticed this one right here. Shin Lamed Kaf. Okay, Shlech. I'm pretty sure nobody has this kind of good memory, but if you go back in our passage and you get back to the spot where King Jehoiakim is slicing sections off the scroll, and after he's got a chunk cut off, 3 or 4 columns at a time, 3 or 4, he would shlech. He would take this. He would toss it onto the fire. Okay, so same root here, shleket. Okay, shleket. It took me 3 or 4 readings before I spotted that. Okay, so hey, even somebody who's been at it a long time can still learn some new things. Okay, mush shleket. Okay, and will be thrown. Same as the scroll got thrown onto the fire, your body will be thrown out into the heat and the cold. Le horev, into the heat, bayom, of the day, ve la kara, and into the coldness, balayla, of the night. Okay, so that's where his body's going to be suffering, and it did happen to a lot of them when they went into captivity. That's what happened to them. Jeremiah 36:31, and I will punish upon him and on his seed and upon his servants their iniquity, and I will bring upon them and all the inhabitants of Jerusalem against everyone Judah all of the disaster which I spoke against them, and they aren't listening. Whoa, this is very much condemnation, and it's certainly a lesson to us that when the word of God comes to us, we have to pay attention. In other words, the consequences can get pretty bad. So pagati elav ve'al zero ve'al avdedav et aonam ve'hebeiti alechem ve'al yoshbe Yerushalayim ve'al ish Yehuda et kol hara asher divarti elechem ve'lo shameu. And this is literally, I will visit. Okay, now the Lord's visit is never social. It always says comes with a purpose. He will visit to punish. He will visit to bless. He will visit to bring food. His pagad is to visit with purpose. Okay, so this visit here has the purpose of punish. So we'll just put it in there. If we put in there visit, people don't really know why this has to be a word visit, but its root word is visit, pagad. And it's a visit. Also, pagad means something is put in order when you do it. Okay, so here we got pagad ti. In other words, now I will punish elav, on him, ve'al zero, and on his seed, on his descendants. The word seed here means descendants. Zera are actually literally rays of that, like zera of the sun, or rays that are in the veins of a plant. And zera, the seed, his seed. Okay. Zerah, his descendants. Ve'al Adav, and on the servants, et ano aonam, et ano aonam, okay, aonam, and that is iniquity, evil, things that are bad. The third person plural suffix is on the end right here, aonam, this mem, and that's their iniquity. He beti, and I will bring alehem, onto them, and you got Yoshbe, and onto the inhabitants, the indwellers of Yoshbe. It's this is Yoshbe Yerushalayim, construct plural form of Yoshbe Yerushalayim. Ve'al ish, and on each man, each person, everyone. Ve'al ish Yehuda, of Judah. Ve'et kol hara, and all of the disaster. Now, a lot of translations just keep talking here about evil. It is the same word, hara. When a person does it, it's evil. When God does it, it's a disaster. It's punishment. Okay, hara. Asher dibarti, which I spoke, which I said, elechem, to them, velo shamma'u, and they shamma'u, and they don't listen. Okay, they haven't listened. They aren't listening. Present tense is working fine here. Shema'u, they aren't listening. Jeremiah 36:32, and this is the end of the chapter here. Jeremiah took another roll. He gave it to Baruch, son of Neriah, the scribe, and he wrote upon it from the mouth of Jeremiah all the words of the book which Jehoaquim, king of Judah, had burnt in the fire, and he added yet to them many words like them. Ve'Yirmiyahu lakach Megila acheret ve'yitana el Baruch ben Neriyahu ha-sofer ve'yekatov aleha mepi Yirmiyahu et kol divrei ha-shefer asher sharaf Jehoaquim melech Yehuda be'esh ve'od nosaf elechem debarim ravim kachema. And Jeremiah and Yirmiyahu lakach. Okay, I had mentioned previously that up to now, the only forms we've seen of kaf-chet are either the base root or the base root with a yod or something else, but not the lamed in front of it. Now, here we do. We see the full root, okay, without any assimilation, without any apharesis or anything like that. And it's the full root. And then you look in the dictionary, that's what you'll find. Great, okay? Just remember that this verb does have a tendency to show up only with this part of it. It just tends to just sort of leave this off to one side, okay? Lakach, to take, to grab, okay? To take. Megila, a scroll. Acheret, another one. It's a different one, a separate one. One behind. Acher is afterwards. But yitena, and give it to Baruch, al Baruch, okay? Prefixed form of Natan. This is also one verb that has a lot of issues with how it forms itself. The root itself is nun tau nun. Obviously, nun isn't in here. The yod's in here. There's a dagish right here. There's a yut, and then that makes me think it has some sort of causative impact in it. So v'yetana, and you will give it to it. This is female. That's female also there. Pronoun on the end there. El Baruch, to Baruch ben Neriyahu, son of Neriyahu. Here's something kind of interesting I've noticed after reading it 3 or 4 times, and that is, hey, up to now we've been seeing ben Neriyah, okay? Ben Neriyah. And all of a sudden you get the long version of the name right here, Ben Neriyahu, okay? And Hebrew will do this to you. You're expecting to sort of go through it uniformly with just one form of the word, and all of a sudden you see a different form, and it doesn't really matter. It's still the same word, okay? Even though one is spelled differently from the other, okay? Ben Neriyahu. Ha HaShofer, okay? Now, you can compare this HaShofer with HaSefer, okay? HaShofer. HaShofer is a scribe, okay? Somebody who writes things down in a book, okay? The book person, HaShofer. And this is HaSefer. And the differences, of course, is here, this is a O-E of scribe, and this one's ascetic A. This one's a ascetic segol. So double E right here. And the accenting right here on the segolado is Miel. It's all up to the top, okay? Miel. And the accenting on this one is Miura. It's towards the end. So you spot both of those things and you've got the difference, okay? HaShofer, HaSefer, okay? So the accenting right here, Miel, accenting right here, Miura. And also difference, of course, in the major difference is the holum on the top right here. HaSofer, the scribe. Yekatov wrote Elecha to him, Mepi from the mouth, to her, okay, sorry, upon her on the scroll, Mepi from the mouth, Yirmiyahu of Jeremiah, et kol debre, all of the words of the scroll. This again is a verb, plural verb construct form, okay, dibre ha-sefer. I think we might have seen, we've seen it previously. Dibre ha-shefer. Asher, Saraf, which burned Jehoaquim. Jehoaquim burned the previous scroll, okay? Jehoaquim, Saraf. This is just simple third person masculine indicative form right here. Saraf. Jehoaquim, Melech Yehuda, king of Judah, Be'esh, in the fire. In the fire. Has a cabots here, which makes it a definite article. So in the fire, you have the fire. Ve'od, and much more, and yet, yeah, the word yet here, and much more. Od. Nosaf was added. Alechem, to them. Debarim, Rabim, Kechem. Okay. Now, Debarim Rabim this is a sequence it's not a true, how you say it, construct sequence, because this one is actually absolute form, that was absolute form. And what you have here, you have a noun that's simply a masculine plural, and then you have an adjective which is simply also a masculine plural. Okay, so this is a construct form, and this one's really just absolutes. Devarim Rabim Kehema, compared or as those, as them, okay, compared to them. So it's been a great read. I've had a lot of fun doing it, and it brings us to a thought that all of us must carry, and I'll just end with that on the next slide here. And Jesus told us, Matthew 24:35, heaven and earth will pass away, but my words will never pass away. In other words, you can have people burning scrolls, you can have people throwing the prophets in prison, and all kinds of evil things, all kinds of persecution against the people of God, trying to wreck things. But the word of God is firm, and it lasts forever. It's something that we'll probably be enjoying even in heaven. Heaven and earth will pass away. My words will never pass away. We have that confidence and trust. And so when we have the word of God before us, we have something that's really ties us from here to eternity. May God bless. May God strengthen in this day. Until the next time.